Monday, the 2nd of December, 2024. 5:30 a.m. start this morning, so really early. On the train, I was trying to edit thumbnails for my videos. However, CapCut, the software that I'm using, it wasn't working for some reason. It was really frustrating me because it meant that like I wanted to do something but I couldn't. I came into the gym on campus and I done my Monday workout. Just a reminder that if you found the exercise difficult but you still done the exercise, then you didn't struggle with the set. The set struggled with you. So at this point I was a little bit behind schedule, so I went into Ground Cafe at around 9:45. I got coffee. I was doing work in there from approximately 9:45 to 10:30. I have a lecture at 10, so I did kind of like skip the beginning bit of my lecture to kind of get my work done. So when 10:30 came, I headed into the engineering building to go into my lecture. And when I went in there, he was talking about quantum gravity. So I slightly regretted not coming in earlier, because I think this lecture was kind of like the climax of the whole lecture. If you've been watching, you know it's a space-time and gravity lecture. So in the beginning bit, he talked a lot about quantum gravity, and he talked a lot about advanced topics which aren't really in our syllabus but are like quite interesting. And then in the kind of like latter half, he talked a lot about black holes. So it was a really nice lecture today. It was kind of like the finale, almost the finale of our anyway. So that lecture was from 10 to 12. The previous night I had arranged to have a lunch with my friend. So I met up with them after warming up my food in the physics museum, and after looking for them for a little bit, and we went to Canal Side and we just kind of sat down and had lunch, and it was really nice. It was only half an hour, but it was really enjoyable just to like spend that time with them and kind of like catch up with them. It was super awesome. I really enjoyed it, and it was a nice talk as well. It wasn't a superficial talk. Anyway, I'm not studying for the rest of the day. I decided to kind of like take a break today, not do any study sessions. So I went on the train, I headed into town, and I went to go visit one of my grandparents for a little bit. And then after that, I actually had to, before going home, I had to pop into Aldi very quickly to pick up some bits and pieces from someone. Anyway, I want to share something with you. So those who have been watching the vlogs, you'll know that like I've been interested in this idea of like PTSD and trauma. And I came across this lecture and I really liked it, and I was listening to it, and it kind of ties into like some of the books I'm reading and like some of the things I'm going through. And it is basically this idea that like people with PTSD should develop an idea of evil, because it's this idea that like you get PTSD because or you become traumatized not because you've suffered, but because you came across something. You came across something or someone or even yourself that wanted to hurt you, and it's something you don't understand. So you have to come up with this robust idea of evil. And you know, there's also this quote, I kind of like it: to keep the psychopaths at bay, you have to understand the psychopath within.
What the segment?
Which kind of makes me a little bit psychopathic, but it's interesting because, you know, it's like Harry Potter, you know, it's like a bit of Voldemort lives in him. Anyway, so when I got home, what I done was I started to journal, but I journaled something a little bit different. I said, this thing that happened to me, how did I let it happen? You know, how did I let it happen? And I started writing down, and I was thinking like, I let this happen because, you know, like some of the reasons, like number one, I didn't understand certain things. Number two, I was a child. Like there were all these reasons, but I think the most significant reason was that I didn't really understand what was going on. I didn't really understand evil. I didn't really understand this idea that like someone could intentionally hurt you. And like, I know when we say that out loud, we know like, oh yeah, we know there's like evil people, but I don't mean it in the superficial sense. I mean like really knowing it. And I think the problem that I have is that because I came across something like that, and I didn't, in a sense, I kind of let it happen, right? I kind of let it happen. So my body is terrified because it's like I let something like that happen to me before, and I don't know why I let it happen. So therefore, my body is petrified, and anything can startle me, anything and everything. I'll read in bad things to things as a means to protect myself, but that will also be a means of me kind of like traumatizing myself. So I started journaling and I was saying like, okay, this something happened to me. Why did this happen to me? It happened to me because I didn't understand the idea of someone trying to hurt you. I didn't understand evil. I didn't understand why someone could possibly do that, you know. And obviously it's a bit personal, but I was going through my life and I was saying like, okay, all these things, you know, you were just kind of like agreeing along with them and obliging and saying yes when you didn't mean to say yes, and you wasn't resolute. So basically what I kind of came to the conclusion was something happened, but I let it happen. I let it happen because I didn't understand, but now I can understand. So now I can kind of say like, this happened to me, this horrible thing happened to me because I didn't understand and I allowed it to happen to me. But that was in the past, and now I'm in the present, and now I understand. So because I can understand, and it goes back to that idea of like, know the psychopath within, and you can keep the other psychopaths at bay. Because I understand now, I can do things to protect myself against those things. So I don't have to be anxious because I know that like it didn't just happen out of nowhere. There was a reason that this was allowed to propagate. But now because I understand this and I understand this myself as well, I don't have to be affected by it. That idea of like in the past that there was a reason why something happened, there was a controllable reason that something happened, and it didn't just come out of nowhere, that kind of like liberated me so much. But going forward, I don't really know what I can do to kind of like I understand it now, but what barriers, what preventative measures am I going to do? Because then if I understand that there's something I can do, I don't have to be scared of everything, if that makes sense. And you know, like I could feel it already. So I understand the past, but just going forward, I don't know exactly what I'm meant to do. So, you know, it's a process of healing. But yeah, I don't know exactly what to do. I guess one thing I could do is just kind of like tell the truth and be authentically you, and, you know, say what you feel and don't kind of like repress it so much, I guess. But how to actually practically do that, I don't know. So it's going to be a process, but it's progress. And yeah, so it's really good. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, take care of yourself.